Hello everyone and welcome to episode 10 of the Locked In podcast. We made it to 10.
Jesus.
So we're halfway to where people normally stop.
Yes. We're getting there. We're getting somewhere, aren't we?
Yeah. So I'm Taylor.
Hello, Taylor, and I'm Dan.
A bit of a different orientation today. If you hate it, you can thank Dan.
Yeah.
But, you know, we tend to talk to each other more than you, so having it this orientation is probably better, actually. I'll have to concede defeat on that one, but...
Let's see.
Yeah, I am actually just going to move that back slightly so I can lean on the table. Yeah, so again, lacking in football updates in terms of Westover because, again, it's the off-season. So
Indeed.
we do have a little bit of news in that we were at St Mary's this past weekend for another sponsorship opportunity. Premier League Stadium this time, though, Southampton Stadium, if you don't know. We were sponsoring Interlegends once again, but this time they were against a team of creators led by Pieface, the streamer, amongst a smattering of other creators, including Woody and Kleiny. There was Cole Anderson-James, if you know who that is, Specs Gonzalez, some other people.
There were.
Yeah,
Manny?
there was a lot. Huh?
Manny?
Oh yeah, Manny Brown, Toby from the Sidemen's brother. Yep. He was there. And the guy who does an impression of Deji.
What?
The guy, I can't remember his name. Thomason.
Is that the lad who was getting all the autographs outside the front?
Yeah, when he was talking, he was stood in front of the statue.
Yeah,
he was stood in front of the statue with a load of kids. Not in a weird way, but stood outside. He collected a group of children and then was filming content.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. Well, unfortunately, we couldn't stay for the whole thing, could we? But
no.
By the sounds of it, we didn't miss much.
No. It got mental. It was absolutely hammering it down the whole game.
Oh, yeah.
By the start of the second half, someone tried playing the ball from centre back to right back, and the ball just stopped. So, and we left 50th minute, roughly?
Something like that. Yeah, we weren't very far in, but apparently there was a pitch invasion afterwards.
Yeah.
And then all the after party and the little presentation and the auction and everything all got cancelled because Southampton threw their toys out the pram.
Which is understandable.
In a way, I suppose. I mean, it's the end of the season. You're going to relay the turf anyway. Does it matter that much? But, you know, each to their own, I suppose. But,
rules
you know.
Are rules, isn't they? Rules are rules.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a thing that has happened at every creator match so far that I've seen. Is they've invaded the pitch. The only time they didn't is at Wembley because it's nigh on impossible. Well, you know, you've seen Wembley where they've got all those metal grates that are like.
What?
Yeah, so they've got. Have you never sat near the front of Wembley?
Never been to Wembley.
Have you not?
No.
So at Wembley, there's so you've got sort of the advertising boards. Yeah. Well, they're not. The advertising boards are in front, but they're similar. And then you've got like say 5-6 foot gap, and then you've got these metal fencing, and then they come back like that over the gap.
Oh right.
So it's nigh on impossible to get on the pitch.
Jesus.
You probably could if you were dexterous enough, but you couldn't have
a whole flock of people,
1,000 children running across the pitch like we did at St Mary's at the weekend. So it's it was a good opportunity. I think that chapter will probably be closed now, and
we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. But you know, we're open for sponsorships. We'll always have a look if anyone. If anyone's got any, you know.
Indeed.
Let's get into the news then. Unless you had anything to.
I was going to say that the only minor news, it's not really news, but we had our presentation evening for the two Westover sides.
Oh yeah, I haven't asked you who won the stuff.
So, for the Saturdays, which is the main team that we put the highlights up for throughout the YouTube series and stuff, you had Brad Pinhello. He won Players Player, which I think is fair based on performance this year.
I only giggle because that it satisfied him then.
Oh God, yeah.
He was quiet. There was no tantrums.
Yeah. We were safe. And then Ben Hans won Club Player, which is a new thing they created. I think basically it was so tight between Brad and Ben, and for Ben to not receive anything after playing for both the Saturday team and the Sunday team, being top scorer for both. Like, how can you not give him something? So, I handed Ben that award, which was a bit weird. And then what was the other award that they had? Manager's player went to Elliot, and very well deserved. Yeah, I must admit, when I was doing the voting, he's such a quiet character. I'd sort of forgotten. And then as soon as I submitted my votes, I was like, oh shit, Els. Like he would have been in my top 3 for sure. And he's so placid and quiet and just cracks on. I've forgotten about him really. He won that, and then for the Sunday side, his name's Alex. Oh God, it's not Henderson. Something like that. It's called Hendo. Anyway, he won both. He won player's player and manager's player, which was good. But bless him, he turned up we were at Paul Key having a presentation evening at a place called Lamia's, and before the game was the England game against Andorra, whatever the fuck it was. Well, he went to the pub thinking that everyone was going to meet him there, so he sat there and watched the whole first half by himself and had 4 pints. So then, by the time the end of the game happened, he got to the presentation evening about 7 pints deep. You could tell, yeah, you could tell. And then by the end of the night, I mean, Ben, he was gone. Gone. Couldn't stand, sort of gone. I was like, are you all right there, Ben? Didn't even get words out of him. I was like, wow, I need to look after this little fella.
He never struck me as that sort of person, but you know.
He just couldn't handle his drink. He just had too much. He kept going, like, when are you going to buy me a drink then, money bags? Fuck off, Ben. So I got him his drink. He got that. He didn't fucking need it. I think that might have been the nail in the coffin, the poor bastard. So yeah, we were upstairs in this random pub, and I'm trying to make sure he's okay, giving him a glass of water and stuff. He's gone, I'll be back in a minute. And he's just wandered down these metal steps, and I'm like, I don't want you going downstairs on your own, mate. This is a terrible idea. Gone. Nobody knew where. He's just gone. He just went home. Yeah. He's like, I think I ruined a taxi driver's night. But yeah, so that was the Westover presentation evening. Beverages, chats. One of the lads nearly got kicked out of a pub for just being a little prick. I had a word. I was like, what are you doing? He didn't realise he was being a prick, but he definitely was. But yeah, that was that.
So you don't have the most backhanded award that I was ever given then? Most improved player.
No.
I got that twice.
Really?
How shit was I the first year? So the fact that they felt the need to give me an award back-to-back years. I'm like, we thought you were good last year. You know, you were actually shit. Now you're good.
2 years.
Thanks, lads.
I don't know why we didn't do that one. But yeah, if it was least improved, I'd have got that.
Can I make the categories next year?
Probably not.
Why?
Because you're not involved.
I'll leave the normal ones in.
Yeah?
But I want extra ones.
Biggest ego?
Oh, no, I'll think of worse things than that.
Okay. Yeah. Chuck out the ideas. I'm intrigued.
I know, that's legally binding.
Is it?
Yep.
Because I make the decisions on that side of things, don't I? But there you go.
I just messaged Brad.
He'll get stuck in.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go.
Good.
What is the football news?
The football news this week. The first one is, we spoke about him a few weeks ago, and it's the Sporting striker Viktor Gyokeres.
Big Yoki.
Now, in the previous episode that we spoke about him, he was pretty nailed on to go to Arsenal. That is now not the case. Arsenal are very, very advanced in talks with Benjamin Sesko from Leipzig. So that has brought Manchester United back into play because they sort of resigned, okay, we're not going to get him. He's going to a Champions League club. Yeah. We'll go for Liam Delap. Liam Delap chose Chelsea. Yeah. God knows why, but he did. So I know they're a good team, but there's 480 players in there.
Yeah.
It's not competition for places, it's competition for a seat on the bus. It's like, it's ridiculous. So, yeah, anyway, he's gone there. They've announced him and everything, so that's a done deal. So, yeah, basically, I think Ruben Amorim's been speaking to people, including Gyokeres himself, and obviously has said, look, this season's going to be better. You know, we're going to try and get into Europe this year, and we're trying to sell the project, you know.
We're going to try and get into Europe this year.
Well, you laugh, but
yeah, you got
to aspire to it.
Yeah.
And I think it does help that they've nailed on Cunha, and they've all but signed Mbuemo as well. Yeah. So I think, you know, those two signings have helped the cause, you know, to say, look, we're still a serious team. We can still attract this sort of player. We're genuinely trying this.
Yeah.
And it was all going very well. And then, as of, I can't remember if it was last night or this morning, basically, Gyokeres and Sporting had what I read as a handshake deal that this year, if he stayed last year, he could leave this year for below his release clause. Okay. So his release clause is 100 million euros. It's 85 million pounds. And there was a handshake agreement that he could leave for 60 million pounds, I think it was. So 25 million off. And then basically Sporting have now, as he's about to leave or looking at leaving, have now said, no, you can go for the release clause. Yeah. And he has flipped his shit.
Really?
Apparently he's going on strike.
He's
refused. He's put out a public statement this morning, according to something I read. I haven't actually seen the statement, but I read that he has said, I will never play for Sporting again in my life.
Wow.
So he's done the Payet thing. Do you remember when Payet was at West Ham and he said, I will never play for you again, sell me?
Yeah, man of principle.
Yeah, and Tevez at City did it as well. That is a big, big thing to do because he's loved over there.
Of course, he's just scored, fucking 60 goals or something madness.
Well, in his sporting career, he scored 97 in 102 games.
That's
so
bad,
he's a serious player. But I don't know what Sporting are doing because he was always going to leave. He's told them. He said, because he was going to leave. He had loads of offers last year and he rejected them out of goodwill and said, okay, I'll go next year.
Yeah, to help them out.
Yeah, basically. To help them out, and also, but you let me leave for what I want. It's basically what Haaland's done at his last two clubs.
Yeah.
He's made sure that in his contract there's release clauses that are realistic for the calibre of clubs he wants to play for to trigger. Yeah. That's why at the minute I think there's a £130 million release clause or something in his Man City contract, which is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. You'd be easily paying Neymar money for Haaland now. Do you know what I mean? So it's a realistic sort of thing for the calibre of club he wants to play for. But apparently, Sporting are holding out, and he's proper flipped his shit. He said, and I think he, in a way, I don't necessarily condone what he's done, but
deserves it.
I can see why he's done it. He's delayed his career in his prime. He's 27 now, so he's.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
He's not a young guy.
No. So he's given up a year of his prime, effectively, to Sporting out of good graces. Because he could have gone to a multitude of clubs last year.
Anywhere, basically.
Yeah, pretty much anywhere he wants. Yeah. And now they're pulling this. So, he's not happy.
I wouldn't be.
No.
I wouldn't fucking stay there. Not a chance.
No.
He's an employee at the end of the day. If he's not happy if they've gone against a verbal agreement, I don't care whether it's on paper or not. If I know that the agreement's there and then that gets pulled under me, I'm not having that. No. I'll see you later. He's got enough money in the bank to not worry again already.
Well, you say that. I'm not saying that he's hard up. I read it the other day, and his wages for the level of player he is.
What year week?
Let me have a look. Viktor Gyokeres. He is on.
I reckon it's about 40 odd.
Yeah, £39,310 a week.
Hardly to be sniffed at.
I'm not saying he's hard up. No. I'm just saying he is on the calibre of people like Vlahovic, Sesko, people like that. Vlahovic is on £400,000 a week.
That's disgusting.
Sesko, I think, is on about 120. Even right. Okay, he's not a meme. I still like him, but Rasmus Højlund is on £80,000 a week.
Wow.
So he's on half what Højlund's on. Yeah. Just to put it in perspective.
Of course. Well, it's just the scalability and the economic power of the league's difference. It's just, Portuguese league, they got some big European clubs, 2, maybe 3, but it's just not enough. It just isn't. They don't have enough draw for TV rights across Europe. They definitely don't have enough draw for American TV rights and stuff and some of the Far East Asian things. So, you're going to get paid accordingly. And he's obviously signed his original contract for that 40k a week. He knows it's life-changing money at 40k a week. Don't know what the tax situation is in Portugal, but
no idea. I
can't imagine it's any more or less favourable than here. So, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, he was signed from the Championship as well, so it would have been...
Gyokeres in Championship?
Yeah. He came through at Brighton, and then he went to Coventry.
Okay.
He was
Yeah.
Coventry City, and then he left for Sporting.
Crazy.
It was Ruben Amorim who bought him.
Yeah.
So he basically made him. So you can see why he wants to carry on playing for him.
Yeah.
And I mean, all this about him going to Arsenal was just media speculation. He never said it.
No.
So he might have had Man United in the back of his mind the whole time.
Who knows?
You never know. But
fingers crossed for United.
yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah,
but
for sure.
we'll see how it develops. I hope they sign him because talk about an evolution of a front three.
Yeah, it's not bad,
Do
is
you
it?
know what I mean? Going from Ahmad,
Hoyland,
and Garnacho to
Apparently-
Buemo, Cunha and Gyokeres.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's insane.
Apparently, Garnacho might be leaving this year.
Oh no, he's definitely leaving.
He's gone.
Yeah, he's definitely leaving.
La Liga, isn't it?
Well, apparently he's come out and said he wants to stay in the Premier League.
Really?
Yeah.
Where the fuck would he go at 8? Was he 19 years old now?
Chelsea want him.
Not
Because
another.
of course they do. Yeah.
Another winger.
Yeah.
They can't. It just doesn't make any
No,
sense.
it doesn't. But
Cherry picked like
and apparently Arsenal want him.
I would probably play him over Martinelli. I don't.
100%. Yeah, I don't rate Martinelli at all. But I can't see Man United selling because they were going to sell him to Napoli, and I think it was £45 million, which is not a lot for a player. He's 20 at the end of the day, and he's Premier League proven.
Yeah.
But if I was Man United, I'd go fine. If you want to stay in the Premier League,
Yeah.
we don't want you to play in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So
certainly.
you can go and find a club,
Yeah.
but they're paying 60 million.
Minimum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'd do.
Well, I mean,
So you go to Napoli with your mate Scott,
yeah.
and you can go for 45, or you stay here and you pay 60. I think that personally, that's what I would do.
It's fair.
'Cause you can't, throw the club under the bus and then expect him to do you favours. It's the same as Rashford.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
why? Like when he was looking for a loan to Barcelona, why the fuck would they be doing him favours?
No, don't make any sense.
Yeah, Garnacho's not on a lot a week. If he wants to sit and rot on the bench, he can.
What's he on a week?
20, 30 grand a week.
Is that all?
He's a youth player. He hasn't signed a new contract yet.
Seriously?
I don't think he has, unless he did. He might have done one last season. If he did, he still won't be on. He won't be on mega money,
No.
and they can afford it. So if they want to let him rot in the reserves, then
Yeah.
fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No skin off their nose. They're not losing any money on him,
No.
apart from his wages, because he's a youth player. So they don't owe anyone anything for him.
No.
So yeah,
But that's very interesting. Complete reshape, reform.
but Man United need to show strength. They need to show that no one's bigger than the club. You don't dictate what goes on at this club.
Of course.
Because it's like when Anana
Yeah.
came out and said, "I've got nothing in person."
Sorry.
Headphone users, I can only apologise.
Yeah, apologies.
It's like Anana when he came out and said, "No, I want to stay."
Yeah.
Frankly, mate, it's not up to you.
No.
You can do what you want. You can say what you want. But
Yeah.
just because you've said it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
No. Of course.
It's the same as Hoyland saying, "I want to stay and fight for my place." No, if the club want to sell you, you fuck off.
Is he going, is he?
Apparently Inter are interested in him.
Oh, you mentioned that, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yes,
but it's nothing concrete. But he's basically come out. But I suppose that could just be a case of him, if he doesn't go, he doesn't want to sour further his relationship with the fans.
Yeah.
I don't think the fans hate him. They're just frustrated with him because he looks so promising and now he's not delivering. I don't think there's actual genuine hatred there.
No.
It's not like Sancho, where the vast majority of Man United fans hate him.
Yeah.
And he's back at the club now.
Is he back?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah,
be gone.
Chelsea paid the thing. So
And West Ham apparently are looking at signing him.
apparently it's Dortmund on a loan deal.
Again.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, what is it? Yo-yo boy.
Going back to an ex, isn't it? Like, yeah, for it, mate.
But at least he's going to get game time there, and he seems to play his best football in Germany. So if that helps him in his career, then it could be a lot worse.
Could be.
Yeah.
This wasn't on my list, but I thought I'd... So, Eric Ten Hag is now the Bayer Leverkusen manager.
What? Really?
Yeah. He's just signed a goalkeeper. Do you think it was Onana? Considering he was the one who bought him because he was his goalkeeper. Onana's up for sale for £20 million. That's what they said Man United will let him go for.
Such bad business.
Well, the amortisation and that, it's actually not that bad. I think it's about break even. But, so he signed Flecken from Brentford.
Good signing.
It is a good signing.
For Bayern.
Why is he not taking his goalkeeper?
Because his goalkeeper's been an absolute bag of shit for the last 3 years.
This is my fucking point.
Yeah.
Why didn't you fleck him when he was at Man United?
Because Onana was one of the best keepers in Europe prior.
Was he though?
Yeah. His team won the second championship.
The second. They
Finished
lost
second.
the final to City, didn't they?
Yeah.
But I think, again, it was in spite of Onana. Not at the time. I know that the view of him was good at the time, but I'm like...
Yeah.
If you backed him that much to spend 50 million quid on him, why won't you spend 15 or 20?
Because
if you think he's that good of a keeper.
Thought, past tense. He made the decision under the proviso that basically he was basing it on previous performances. And if you now base the decision on previous performances, it can't be the same as what it was. So he's just being logical. If he stuck to his guns and just went, I still believe in this individual that has been the worst performing keeper in Manchester United history, then you're a madman. And I think if he did try and sign him at Leverkusen, he'd be sacked straight away. You go, why are you trying to fucking bring that here? Have you not just seen him play for the last 2 years? So I think
It wasn't off of previous performances they bought. It was because he came through the youth system at Ajax when Ten Hag was there.
Yeah.
That was why. But it's just annoying. Do you know what I mean? Just because he had 300 million to piss up the wall, he signed all these players. Now he's got the chance to take them with him, and he doesn't want them.
No.
Why did you sign him for Man United then, you prick?
Well, because you just established he was playing very well for Inter, wasn't he? He was playing very, very well.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's like
you'd let
you let the best keeper in the world go on a free. He just won the Premier League Golden Glove.
Yeah,
David De Gea, this is.
Yeah,
and you bought in that twat.
Yeah,
like that's. I don't think Man United fans will ever forgive him for that.
No,
because the way he treated De Gea as well was disgusting.
Yeah,
promising him a new contract. He goes on holiday, and when he's on holiday, they've emailed him and said, "No, we're not doing it."
Yeah, that's mad.
Like, you fucking twat.
No humility left in that club.
Enough ranting about Man United.
People probably tune in just to hear you being frustrated.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
It'll be worse when we actually start winning things. I'll be insufferable.
You might be waiting a long fucking time.
I'll wait. I've waited 10 years. I can wait another 10.
True.
To the other side of Manchester.
The Blues.
The blue side.
The winning side.
I wanted to talk about the fact that, obviously, Man City are currently in court.
Yep.
Alleged of financial
misconduct,
misdealings, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
How are they being allowed to sign players?
Because you're innocent until proven guilty.
Understandably, yes. But in court, with a serious charge like that, in footballing terms, this is murder.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's the same sort of level. Yeah. You are held on remand.
Mm.
You are not allowed. You are taken away certain liberties when you're accused of such a thing.
Yeah.
So they've just signed Tierney Reinders, or however you pronounce his first name.
Sick player.
And I think they're going to sign Cherky.
Oh wow! They're just picking the best of the best.
What I want to know is, why are they being allowed to do it? Because if it's financial misdealings, which is what it is, it's 115 charges of financial misdealing.
That is so mad. 115 in it. That is ridiculous.
Chelsea get a transfer embargo for breaking PSR, which they did a few years ago.
Yeah.
But Man City don't have a transfer embargo for 115 financial, I'm not going to say
accusations,
crimes, but you know what I mean.
Accusations against, yeah. How
have they done that? And what happens if they are found guilty?
Well, I'm assuming they'd have to give back the player, and the contracts would be screwed up. Be bye. You've got to go back to your parent club that you've just come from.
And what, AC Milan have to give them the money back? They're not going to do that, are they?
Well, they have to. If they, it's. I guess I don't know what the actual situation is on this, but it may be linked to or similar to the only comparison I've got. It's like the Consumer Rights Act, whereby if you purchase something, you have a warranty period, and I guess there must be some sort of caveat that states, depending on legal proceedings, X, Y, Z. And because at the minute there is no definitive outcome for the legal proceedings, they're not too sure. Because realistically, Simon Jordan mentioned this about 18 months ago when it first came to light. And he was like, well, they're just going to tie them up with the lawyers like for fucking years because they can afford to. Okay, because that doesn't somehow go against financial fair play. Even if you've got a bloody war chest of money, you can just put it into court proceedings and go, that's 10 million well invested for the next 5 years. I don't know. I actually don't know what the legal framework is regarding this, but
if we were to apply it to another crime again, let's say like a RICO crime, where it's RICO, like when they break big cartels.
right.
And stuff like that. I'm not saying Man City cartel, but
Sounds like you are.
the first thing they do is what?
Try and get the small fish to grass up the big fish.
Once they've made the arrests, what's the first thing they do?
Don't know.
Freeze the assets.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Why haven't you done that either?
Why are they not? Why are they still being allowed to spend money?
Because there will be a loophole that these incredible lawyers that City can afford. They've just found every loophole known to man. That's what they're paid to do, and they're obviously going to be the best of the best that they're hiring. So, I think they've just tied up the PFA. They've tied up the FA. Sorry, and they're making it work for their advantage, and no other club can do anything about it. You can just sit there and go, well, that's not fair. And what? Like, you know.
What it makes me think though is if they are found innocent on this, because there's obviously a mountain of evidence. Yeah. It's not every day that the Premier League take a team to court.
No.
Do you know what I mean? There's evidence there.
Yeah.
Is what happens if they get found guilty, not guilty? Because then, do you just have to respect it? Because if they found the loophole and they knew that this wouldn't stand up,
Yeah.
are they just geniuses for doing that?
Yes.
That's what I mean.
By technicality and by the rules of engagement, yes. I don't like it.
But then why would you ever hold a flame to anything that the Premier League puts in place?
Well, you wouldn't.
Because if you can just go, well, you didn't do them for it. And like Everton, for example.
Yeah.
They didn't kick up a fuss. They got deducted points last year.
12 on it, yeah.
Something like that. And that was only a minor break of PSR.
Yeah.
But Man City can keep their 10 titles and Champions League and all that shit when they were doing things that effectively are more egregious.
Yeah, yeah. I really do not know. But it's going to be intriguing to see how the bloody court proceedings roll out. Yeah. I don't know whether... It's a tricky one because you kind of want to see the game played as fairly as possible. But if you do that, you do remove these wonder teams. Like, you couldn't have had the Real Madrid team of years gone by that were just all icons. Every single player in the team was an icon, basically. You just couldn't have that if with FFP and with there being an equal playing field. So, would I like to see more of those incredible teams? Yeah, I would. Like, I'm way more excited at the prospect of watching, say, PSG versus Bayern, PSG versus Liverpool. Like, those games are games I want to watch. I don't want to go and watch Bournemouth versus Palace. Decent teams, and they've had good years this last year, but it's just not the same thing. You can't put an Adam Wharton up against a Claude Makelele. Like, you just can't. It's chalk and cheese. So I don't know. I'm torn on it. I don't necessarily want City to be losing points, deducted points, and knock down leagues. But another part of me would love to see how that happens for a City versus what happened to, say, Portsmouth a few years back. Because what a contrast in lay of the land. Like, the access to funds and routes out of those lower leagues for City, it's a different ballgame to what Portsmouth had.
Oh, yeah. Portsmouth was administration, wasn't it? So, it is a bit of a different one, but I suppose it would be closer to what Juventus went through, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where they, with the match fixing thing, a lot of their players left, but a lot of them stayed. And they had, Del Piero, Buffon, all these sorts of players in the second division.
They were straight back up,
I mean,
they were straight back up.
Yeah, of course they were. But
Serie A.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit of an interesting one because I can actually see the Everton's I can't remember all of them, the ones that have been deducted points for PSR suing the Premier League.
Yeah, they'd have to.
Yeah.
If there's clearly been an unfair course of justice, then I would.
Yeah,
Like,
too right.
fuck it. If I'm being penalised and someone's done the exact same thing as me but 115 times, and then they get away with it, they'll go, well, you should have had better lawyers. Possibly. You don't know. You know, if Everton had the world's best lawyers, like City do, maybe they would have avoided the 12 points.
Oh, I'm sure Everton could afford a similar level of lawyer.
Oh, God, yeah.
The owners are still billionaires. They're still a Premier League team. So
yeah, they could do.
yeah, you're talking chump change when it comes to lawyer fees compared to what running a football club costs. It's just I just thought it was an interesting point because it's going to cause whichever way it goes, it's going to cause a shitstorm. Whether it's a shitstorm for Man City or whether it's a shitstorm for English football, effectively.
Yeah, literally.
Because they're going to have no authority after it.
None.
So
see what happens. Good luck, Premier League.
Indeed.
Indeed.
I hope you enjoyed that.
Isn't that
ranty? It is.
Nice. Well, thank you.
Yeah, we rambled, so we're not going to do my third point.
No. What's the time? 3 o'clock? You sure?
No, we can do if you want.
What is it? What's the third point?
1:52. We done?
Let's do one more.
Okay.
Go on.
Welcome back to the Locked In.
That was good. Nice segue.
No, So the last point was just about thoughts on Tottenham sacking Ange.
Oh, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's a tough one because he's done as he said he would do. But along with that little piece of silverware was a lot of dog shit. Was a hell of a lot of...
Do you know they broke the record?
What, for most amount of draws or something?
No. For the lowest rated team to ever win a European competition.
The lowest rated?
Because they came 17th. They were one place above relegation, and they won. They won the thing. They were the lowest rated team ever.
That is so crazy. So crazy. I guess every club has the same situation. You've got 24 to 30 players at your disposal in a squad at the beginning of the season. To lose your 2 best defenders at the same time, so that you're then playing an 18-year-old kid in Archie Gray next to Dragusin. I mean, they had no chance, really. They did bloody well, considering that's what they had for half the season. Yeah. Then Van der Ven comes back for a game or 2, then he's injured again. I mean, he was basically the hottest defensive prospect in the Prem at the beginning of the season. And he barely played. So no wonder you've lost 50% of your fucking games. Like,
this is the thing. This is why I don't like when Tottenham fans, because I've heard this before. Look at the injuries and everything. But as soon as a Man United fan goes, well, look at the injuries we had, they go, no. No, it's the same thing. We haven't had our starting left-sided centre-back for 2 years. Martinez.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Maguire was injured. Ahmad was injured for all of the season.
Yeah.
Garnacho got injured. Hoyland was injured. Bruno had an injury. Mount's been injured the whole time. Casemiro was injured.
Yeah.
Ugarte was injured. There was only, I think, 1 or 2 games this season that Man United played with their full starting lineup, and that was excluding Martinez still.
Yeah.
So they haven't had a full strength lineup for 1 game in the last year.
That's not good, is it?
Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying it. I agree with your point, but it's just annoying when people just dismiss the Man United side of it. Because I'm like, no, they had fucking injuries as well.
A lot of them, a hell of a lot of them.
Yeah.
But for Ange, it's just. It's a kick in the teeth, innit? If you finally manage to achieve what you promised to achieve, which is a trophy in your first 2 seasons, and then that is what kills you. Like, that's harsh. But I say it's harsh. Would I want to keep that manager on after that if I was Levy and the Tottenham board? No, not really. That's just way too inconsistent. It's way too inconsistent. And he's had some big signings.
Oh, yeah.
I don't mean big as in huge names, but in terms of players that were being scouted by major clubs across the whole of Europe.
Spent money.
Basuma, the Van der Ven buy, Romero, great buy. Udogie, first season, brilliant first season. Then you got this Bergvall, Bergvall, the centre mid. He is.
Solanke was a big money signing.
Yeah, Brendan Johnson, not Brendan. And there's a lot of players. Maddison, they brought in some big guns, and to not be able to see that over the line to finish in the top half of the Prem, The fact you've had Bournemouth, Forest, Palace, Fulham, Brighton, Brentford, all finishing above, that is not good.
No.
That is not good. Not for a top 6 side.
Yeah. It was interesting to me because it's basically almost a carbon copy of where Man United were a year ago. Sorry to bring us back to Man United, but it does it does relate quite heavily.
Yeah.
Because they had a manager that they were unhappy with. They won a trophy, got into Europe.
Yeah, bye-bye.
They wanted to sack him, decided not to, spent £400 million, and then sacked him 3 months later.
Mad.
If they'd have sacked him in the summer, do they then finish in Europe? You know, if the £400 million that was spent signing the players that the new manager wanted, not the old manager. I'm not. Maybe they don't finish in Europe. Maybe they. But they don't come 15th. Do you know what I mean? It's
shouldn't do, should they? I mean, it is embarrassing.
It is. Yeah.
It is actually embarrassing. Like for both clubs. They're monsters of football clubs. Like their values. They're in the top 30 clubs in the world for fucking net value, both of them.
Man United's second.
Well, yeah, so Tottenham, but for Tottenham to be in the top 30 is
Tottenham are the highest revenue-earning club outside of football revenue in the world.
Really?
At least in the Premier League. Maybe not in the world, but in the Premier League, they definitely are because they whore out that stadium every week for Beyonce.
True. Very
so,
true. Yeah.
It's
tricky. It's tricky. I feel for him, but I do think that he's the kind of manager that will get another placement quickly. That's the one. That's the one saving grace he's got. I think that he didn't drag himself through the mud in the process, and actually the second year exit might do him a favour for next places, because if he stays for another 3 months, 6 months, and the Ten Hag thing happens to him, he's up some sort of creek and not much in the way of a paddle.
Ten Hag's done all right for himself, hasn't he?
How the fuck he's got to there? I don't actually know.
Holiday back in Holland for 6 months, and then just goes, I'll have Bayer Leverkusen.
So where's Alonso gone?
Real Madrid, Dan.
I don't know. I didn't know.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, Real Madrid.
Yeah. When did he go there? Was that end of
recently?
The season?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, because Ancelotti is now the Brazil manager. Xabi Alonso went
his
to Madrid.
CV. Fucking that CV is just now the best ever.
It's like that, and then it goes Everton, and then back up again.
When he come to Everton and he had James Rodriguez playing like an absolute baller, I was like, okay, he's doing it again.
I don't know if he's ever a baller for Everton, but
hey, he was his like goal involvements in the first 3 months when Ancelotti was there was ridiculous.
Yeah, but who else? They didn't have anyone out. Leon Osman and Tony Hibbert. Yeah, of course he's going to get some goal involvements. They can't rely on anyone else, can they?
But
it's like Bruno's numbers.
Yeah.
You just go, but there's no one around him. Yeah, he has to do everything.
Literally. But yeah, that Ancelotti is something else, isn't he? But yeah, hopefully Xabi Alonso does well. He deserves that move. He definitely deserves that move.
Because it was looking like Liverpool, wasn't it, last year? They nearly had him at Liverpool.
Yeah, but I think they've been smart with Slot.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, fantastic manager.
Right. And will Brazil now go back to winning things? They've got Ancelotti at the helm. I'd love to. I know it's not.
They qualified last night. They've qualified early
for the World Cup
after England lost to Senegal. No offense to Senegal, but fucking hell.
Yeah, it's not.
They're the fourth-rated team in the world. England.
Fourth now.
Fourth, yeah.
I mean, it's tricky that because when you actually look at the starting lineup of Senegal,
it's not bad.
Three of what's his name saves. Fucking names, Dan.
Is it Mendy?
Thank you. 3 of his saves were world-class saves in that England game last night. I didn't even watch the game. I just saw the highlights.
I didn't even know they were playing.
That's bad.
I saw it when I was looking for the news stories for this. I was like, England played, did they? Yeah. I only turned on the bloody Andorra game or whatever it was in the 80th minute or something. I didn't even know it was on.
Bad publicity for it this year.
Yeah, terrible. Yeah.
I think it's the problem is that they're still publicising on traditional media formats. They're not paying for Facebook Meta ads and all that kind of crap. If they did that, they'd get way bigger viewing numbers. But the youth of today do not follow traditional media. So why are you fucking promoting shit on it?
Are you classing me as the youth of today?
You're 27 years of age.
I'm 2.5 years younger than you.
Well, I'm part of the youth of today. I'm not trying to fucking. I'm not standing up on a pedestal or a high horse going, "Look at you." I'm just
bloody
literally,
Gen Z.
Yeah, we are on our phones as just default, basically. Grown up with it.
We are different generations, though, technically speaking.
You and I.
Yeah.
I feel like
You're
that.
a millennial.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm a Gen Z.
Oh yeah,
I'm the first year of it. I'm an elder Gen Z.
Yeah, 97. Do you feel like an elder Gen Z?
I feel elder. Found a grey hair today.
Yeah. He's moaning about
Not very
one.
happy about it.
Yeah, you wait. Give it another 3 years, Tay.
I found one in my beard as well. I'm honestly,
Yeah.
I'm not happy about it.
Don't try and fight time, mate, because you ain't winning that one. I'm so sorry. Ain't going to happen. You got no chance. No.
I've looked 38 since I was 12. So it's not like...
God. And all I need to do is shave and I take off like 10 years.
I haven't shaved fully in over 10 years.
Same.
12 years this year.
Wait, same. So what, you were like 16?
Yeah. It was for a party, I remember.
Yeah.
Clean shaving. It was a fancy dress party and I needed face paint on. So I shaved my beard and that was the last time. It was Valentine's Day 2013. Yeah, 2013.
That's mad. So technically, yeah, you've been unclean shaven, if that makes any sense. It's not English, but it's words.
Yep.
For longer than me by 4 or 5 months. Mine was at 19, yeah. Tonks' birthday. Bad evening. Very bad evening.
You don't want to see me without a beard. It's not a good look.
No. I'd just like to apologise to Nikki again. Sorry, Nikki, for that evening. That was not good. It's Tonks' mum.
I don't ask.
Oh no, nothing that severe. Nothing that severe, but just I might have been flirting in front of her husband. Whoops. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, I used to do that in front of my mate. His mum was fit. What can I say?
You're gonna give it a go.
Yeah, too right.
Yeah. God loves a tryer. Not that beautiful, no.